Hello, John Browning. How's your day going, sir?
It's going fantastic.
I
Enjoying the day
love
so far.
love that answer. Thanks for being with us on another episode of Building Your Life, Not Just a Portfolio. And today we're talking about something that I really don't understand, so that's why I'm just going to be quiet and ask you, tell us a little bit, help me understand behavioral finance. What is that?
You know, it's a fascinating subject, and a lot of I'll call us numbers guys don't like, because it makes us uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to think about and I'm going to say it's a fact that numbers don't solve every problem, because we are complex people, and the decisions that we make as people, whether we like it or not, unless we're schizophrenic, are going to have some emotions built in, right?
Right.
And it's actually, I dedicated part of, if you look at page 57 of my book, Building a Life, Not a Portfolio, you'll see, and I'll give you an example from my own life. And I don't like to admit that I make emotional decisions, but
Right.
when you acknowledge the fact that you do, it's freeing. It just helps you laugh at yourself a little bit and realize that you're making this emotional decision. And you know what? It's okay, because that's how we were created. So don't try necessarily to fight that. And when you understand that in general everyone makes emotional decisions, then you're not as shocked when the market takes some of its dives and goes up, and we hear things like irrational exuberance, or how did the market possibly go down that much in a single day? It's because we're emotional beings, and it's not just here in the United States. This is a worldwide economy. So as we see new shiny objects like the innovation sector, and we're like, oh, that's great, and you see money piling in there, once you see a stock skyrocketing, it might not be the time to get into it. You missed that one. But how else could you capitalize on maybe that same new technology? Is of course how to really be successful. But the story in the book, it was about when I bought my Harley. First of all, really difficult, although I try to justify why I need a Harley.
Yeah.
I have to admit it. Yeah. And my wife would agree that I have to admit I do not need a Harley.
We have to define terms here.
Right. And even during that buying process, I was trying to be logical, and I wanted to pick this bike that was the better value.
Yeah.
And it was very similar to this other bike. But this Harley had a little bit different sounds to it. It made me feel better. And it had this red flake. I still have it. It had a red flake paint and chrome everywhere, and just had a nice feel to it. I liked the grips on the handlebar. And even though the other one was a better value, guess which one I bought?
I'm guessing the one with the red flake.
Yeah. That's the one I have still today. I still ride that one.
That's great. Well, here's the phrase, John, that I just came up with. And we've all heard, numbers don't lie, right? They tell the truth. But I wrote, numbers don't lie, but they don't tell the whole truth. Because the truth of that decision was you have emotions that influence that decision. The numbers say one thing, but your emotions come to the table, and you've got to have both of them. So numbers don't lie. They just don't tell the whole truth. How about that?
That is a very good way to put that, and it'll help maybe some of us numbers guys kind of get that in our head. Okay, maybe we'll agree. Fair enough. That people in general, as a group, are going to make emotional decisions about basically everything, from what you eat in the morning to everything. I mean, it starts when you're 2 or 3 years old, right? And it gets progressively more creative as we grow up. So at 2 or 3, you want something, you scream until hopefully you get it, or you learn that you don't get it by screaming or whatever. Mom and dad, when you're a teenager, mom and dad, and you come up with a whole elaborate, very creative reason that you need a car or something, or need the car for that evening. Hey, I can go pick up the milk at the grocery store if only I had my own car. So you get more creative as you get older. And then when you're, say, 50, you get really creative with your wife or your husband as to why I really need those Louis Vuitton shoes, or why you really need that Ferrari or Harley. And we just get more and more creative about it. But the fact still remains is that we're really making these decisions because we want to. And if we acknowledge it, we actually give it less power over our lives, I think. And we understand investing just a little bit better.
I think you're right. And giving that power away is like pulling the curtain back behind the guy who's pulling all the things in the Wizard of Oz, right? You're like, you know what? I'm just going to acknowledge it. I just want the red flag. I feel better on that bike. And I'm willing to spend another $3,000 to get that. It's okay.
Yeah.
Shoot me, right? I mean, sometimes we just need to be that honest and go, I know the numbers don't lie, but they're not telling you the whole truth. I love it. You got to get it out in the open.
Right.
So that is behavioral finance in a nutshell.
In a very nutshell. It's a very complex subject boiled down into just a couple minutes there.
Well, I can get a couple minutes because now I get what behavioral finance is. It's my emotions. And I resonate with that because I'm an emotional guy. My wife's the logical one who has 7 reasons why I shouldn't buy the red flake Harley, but I really want it. So I totally get what behavioral finance is now that you've explained it, John. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's helped out some other folks as well.
Well, I hope so. And I would encourage those other folks to reach out to you and go to GuardianRockWealth.com and reach out to John for a conversation around behavioral finance, around retirement, around building your life now so that you're set to have a great life after work later. And everybody's different. Just have the conversation and ask him about his red flaked Harley, and you'll have a friend for life.
That's right.
John, thank you so much for being here. We'll look forward to a next episode of your podcast, sir.
All right. Sounds great. We'll see you then.